A big focus. External Affairs Minister Dr. S Jaishankar met Qatar's Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Jassim Thani in Doha and reviewed bilateral relations with a focus on politics, trade, investment, energy, technology, culture, as well as people-to-people ties. Dr. Jaishankar also exchanged views on regional and global issues with Sheikh Mohammed, who holds the portfolio as Foreign Minister there. Meanwhile, this was the External Affairs Minister's third overseas visit since he assumed charge for the second time. The first one, as you know, was to Sri Lanka and the second to UAE. But after returning from Qatar, Dr. Jaishankar will go to Astana to represent India in the SCO summit. Well, for further clarity, we have with us senior international journalist and West Asia expert, Dr. Wael Awad. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the World 24/7. After hectic behind-the-scenes diplomacy about just 5 months ago, Dr. Jaishankar's visit comes after Qatar released 8 former Indian Navy personnel who were sentenced to death after being arrested. How significant do you believe this trip is? And is there something to read between the lines?
Thank you and good morning to you. I believe it is a very important visit, and I think the release of the 8 Indian prisoners is a history now, because the relation between the two countries has been fostering for years, and also the India have a great importance of the oil security, especially from Qatar, where you're having more than 48% of Indian requirement of NDTV coming from Qatar, and in terms of bilateral investment, in terms of defense cooperation, in terms of the Gulf security. These are issues to be taken in consideration, especially with India asserting its position in the presence of the Gulf country. Therefore, we see this visit as a very important on the bilateral between the two countries, and also in general in the relation India and the GCC countries.
Right. Just picking up on what you said, Dr. Awad, Qatar is home to about 8 lakh strong Indian diaspora. It's emerged as an important commercial partner for India. We've got a two-way trade currently worth $20 billion a year. We also know India imports gas from Qatar. But you think Qatar has been increasingly seeking to attract India's attention amid New Delhi's bonhomie with the UAE?
I think most of the Gulf countries are trying to move India into their sphere of influence. I think the GCC countries have a common position in regards to the India oil and food security and the diaspora. Therefore, you see, you have more than 8 million Indians are in the Gulf country, where you have more than 14 million Indians visiting this part of the world, and there are more than $73 billion of revenue annually comes to India from the Gulf countries. So therefore, I think it's important. The most important part that Qatar is one of the largest investors in the world, and I think that's what India is looking for, making India. That is more important for India as well. And I think Qatar is keen on investing in India, like the UAE, like the Saudi Arabia. More important also, Qatar hosts the Afghanistan Taliban in their territories, including also Hamas leadership. So I think India concerned with West Asia development, especially with the war on Gaza by the UAE, and also on the development with Doha, where we have a meeting on the Taliban for the first time, that there are 20 international agencies are meeting. I think that first-hand information for India, it's of a great importance if we also take in consideration the foreign minister is going to Astana to attend the Shanghai summit. So therefore, it's quite important, I think, India to have full information before sitting on the table.